Hey there, welcome back to 7 Minute Books. I'm Sam, and today we're diving into Simon Sebag Montefiore's massive history of Jerusalem. Sophie, you read this one too, right? So what's your first thought when you think about that book?
Oh, Sam, it's just overwhelming in the best way. I mean, this is a book that tries to capture the entire story of a city that's been destroyed twice, besieged 23 times, and captured 44 times. And Montefiore makes it read like a novel, not a textbook.
Yeah, that's the thing that got me. I expected a dry timeline of kings and battles, but he opens with this idea that Jerusalem is a palimpsest. You know, like an old manuscript where they scrape off the writing and write over it, but the old words still show through.
Exactly. Every empire and faith writes its own story on top of the ruins of the previous one. And that's the central thesis, right? Jerusalem isn't one place. It's layers and layers of competing stories.
Right? And he starts way back with the Jebusites. This little hilltop settlement that wasn't strategically important at all, but it had water. And that's what made it attractive to King David.
And David, he's not the saintly figure you'd expect. Montefiore shows him as a ruthless, complex, very human king. He brings the Ark of the Covenant there, and suddenly, it's not just a political capital, it's the religious heart of the Jewish people.
Then Solomon builds the first temple, and that's the moment everything changes. It becomes the Axis Mundi, the navel of the world. And when the Babylonians destroy it, that's not just a military defeat, it's a theological catastrophe.
Yeah, the destruction of the temple forces the Jewish people to redefine their entire faith in exile. And then they come back, build the second temple, and you get the Maccabean revolt and the Hasmonean dynasty.
But then here comes Herod the Great. And honestly, that guy is a piece of work. He rebuilds the temple on an incredible scale, all marble and gold. But he's also a paranoid murderer who kills his own wife and sons.
He's a master builder and a monster, all in one. And it's in that tense, Roman-occupied Jerusalem that Jesus shows up. Montefiore doesn't get theological. He puts Jesus right into the historical context of Jewish apocalyptic expectation and Roman brutality.
And the crucifixion is just another routine Roman execution. At the time, it barely registered in the grand scheme of things. But then, 70 years later, the Romans destroy the Second Temple, and that's the single most traumatic event in the city's history.
The siege is horrifying. Josephus describes streets running with blood, people starving to death. And when the temple burns, it's an eschatological disaster. The Jews are scattered, and Jerusalem is renamed Aelia Capitolina, a pagan city where Jews are forbidden to live.
So for the next 6 centuries, it's a Christian city. Constantine's mother, Helena, invents the true cross, and suddenly Jerusalem becomes a giant pilgrimage site. Every stone has a story, and every story is a matter of eternal life or death.
And then in the 7th century, everything shifts again with the Islamic conquest. Jerusalem becomes the 3rd holiest city in Islam, and the Dome of the Rock is built right on the Temple Mount, deliberately asserting the triumph of the new faith.
So now you've got 3 faiths claiming the same sacred space. And that's the recipe for permanent conflict. Montefiore weaved through the centuries of Islamic rule, with the mad Caliph al-Hakim demolishing the Holy Sepulchre, and then the Crusades come.
The First Crusade is just insane. These ragged, starving armies driven by apocalyptic faith, and when they breach the walls in 1099, they commit a massacre so brutal it shocks even the medieval world. Streets ankle-deep in blood.
And then you get these incredible figures. Baldwin IV, the Leper King, fighting brilliantly despite his disease. Saladin, who recaptures the city in 1187 with surprising mercy. And Richard the Lionheart, who sees Jerusalem from a hilltop but never actually enters it.
The Crusader kingdom is a brutal, romantic, doomed experiment, and it leaves a legacy of mutual hatred that still resonates. After that, The Mamluks let Jerusalem decay into a provincial backwater, and then the Ottomans rebuild the walls that still stand today.
And for a while, it's this sleepy, multi-communal town. But then the 19th century brings the scramble for the Holy Land. Europeans pour in with their consuls, missionaries, and archaeologists, each with their own agenda.
And that sets the stage for the modern catastrophe. Montefiore introduces Herzl, Weizmann, and Ben-Gurion, and he presents the Balfour Declaration as this single paragraph in a letter that changes everything. A promise made by one power to a scattered people about a land inhabited by another.
The British Mandate is a tragic farce. They're trying to govern a country that's tearing itself apart, with the Arab Revolt, Jewish militias, and desperate refugees fleeing Nazi Europe. The city becomes a battleground of bombs and curfews.
And then 1948, the Nakba, or the War of Independence, depending on who you ask. Montefiore gives a harrowing account of the siege of Jewish West Jerusalem, cut off, starving, and shelled daily. And they hold on, but the city ends up divided.
A wall of concrete and barbed wire separates the Jewish West from the Arab East. And for the first time in centuries, Jews are barred from the Western Wall. That division lasts 19 years, until the Six-Day War in 1967.
And that war is so fast it's surreal. Israeli paratroopers weeping at the Western Wall, that iconic image. But it also means Israel annexes East Jerusalem, and the Palestinians remain a conquered population in a city they consider their own.
Yeah, and the rest of the book is about the intifadas, the peace process, the failed Camp David summit. And what strikes me is that Montefiore doesn't offer a solution. He just shows that these claims are not just political, they're claims of the soul.
For Jews, it's the temple and the ancient capital. For Muslims, it's the third holiest city and the site of the Prophet's ascension. For Christians, it's the crucifixion and resurrection. And that's why the conflict is so intractable.
The part that got me was when he says Jerusalem has been loved to death. It's a place where the highest aspirations of humanity coexist with its most terrible cruelties. And the history isn't a straight line, it's a series of spirals.
Right, the same patterns of conquest, devotion, and destruction repeat with terrifying regularity. And the key takeaway for me is that Jerusalem is a mirror. It reflects back the hopes, fears, and obsessions of whoever looks upon it.
And that's why it refuses to be owned by any single faith or nation. It belongs to the idea of the divine. Montefiore's achievement is making this sprawling story feel intensely personal. He introduces us to kings and prophets, but also pilgrims, prostitutes, mystics, and madmen.
And that's what makes it the history of the world in microcosm. A story of faith, power, and the eternal, tragic, beautiful struggle for a place to call home. It's a story that has no end. Only the next chapter written in stone, blood, and prayer.
For me, the one thing I'm taking away is that Jerusalem is a mirror. And I keep thinking about that every time I see the news. It's a reminder that we're all part of a story much bigger than ourselves.
And if you want to keep exploring stories like this, the whole library is over at 7minutebooks.com/app with over 6,000 fiction and nonfiction titles you can read or listen to in any language. It's $2.99 a month, $9.99 a year, or $19.99 for lifetime access. In the end, Jerusalem is a city that holds up a mirror to humanity, showing us both our highest hopes and our deepest divisions. And that's a story we can all learn from. We'll see you in the next one.